I rewatched all of Grey's Anatomy, and I actually am just rewatching like season 17, so I'm finishing that. But I mean, I'm going into nursing, so I love stuff about the medical field. I love anything like that. But the one thing I really didn't start watching was like all the documentaries about like murder mysteries and all that. They have to be real, because if they're not, then it's just, you know, boring and fake. So I watched like all of those. So anything like that. I always use a little star, because whenever I really want to emphasize something, I just use a little star emoji, because like that's what I want to talk about. So I feel like that is what would best describe me, because everyone knows that I kind of want to get to a point, and like I always have a point in everything I try to say, so I use that emoji. Anything country. My team makes fun of me for it, because I feel like a lot of basketball players don't really listen to country music, and that is my go-to. I'll make sure that there's a country song in like our warm-ups downstairs before every game, and it's country only, so any country. Well, when I was at IUS, I took a chemistry class, and I struggled to the max with chemistry. So I actually retook it, and I had this professor, and she was just amazing. Like, she made sure that cause she knew I played basketball, so she made sure that I had separate time away from class to have like one-on-one lessons with her. And I actually ended up getting an A in chemistry, which I never would have thought would have been possible, but thanks to her I did. Probably our coach. Our coach is definitely the funniest person out of all of us, especially like when there's days where she can kind of tell like we don't want to really be there, like, you know, we're just in that kind of slump. She'll come out of nowhere and just start being like the goofiest person ever, and it kind of lifts our spirits up. But so yeah, probably our coach for sure. That's a good one. Probably just like the drive and determination I have, because if I am focused on something, I will do anything and everything to make sure I get to that goal, and I won't let anything get in my way. Okay, I'm a nursing major, and I chose nursing because we were on a family vacation, and my grandfather actually had a heart attack as soon as we got to the condo. And doctors said that if someone around us could have started CPR sooner, that there would have been a greater chance that he could survive. And so, obviously knowing that, I know you can just have your CPR certification, but I kind of like the idea of like if I'm in that position and someone is in dire need of like attention or help, that I could give that to them and help a loved one of someone else not have to go through the loss of what I had to. It's just kind of my getaway. Like if I'm like struggling with school or like stuff at home, or just, you know, down in the dumps, like stepping onto the court is kind of just like a whole different zone and environment, and everything just kind of gets blocked out when you're on the court, or at least for me. And it's just kind of like my stress reliever. Like when I'm out there, anything and everything is just non-existent, and for the hour, 2 hours I'm on the court, it's like I can just play basketball and just have fun. I think just having good teammates kind of helped. Like I had my core group of teammates that I kind of leaned on, because obviously people outside that are just going to school or like just doing anything but being a student athlete, they didn't really understand that like every year we look forward to October 15th, or this year it's October 15th. Every year we look forward to that date of like, this is like when we get to start, and then we have the date on our calendar, like this is our first game. And so having that like the unknown of last year was kind of it was a little of a depressor, but having our teammates, since we all knew like the stressor of like not knowing when, and like continuing to show up, like, okay, we're gonna have a game next week, and then okay, we're not gonna have a game now for 2 months. It's like we had each other to lean on to, and like we had each other to go to when anything got tough. I'm really excited to have fans again, primarily because I'm from Louisville, and a whole part of why I chose a school close to home was so my family could come watch and support me, because it's something they love. I'm really excited to just be able to have them back in the stands, but it's funny because with playing games and not having fans in the stands, it's like you kind of didn't even realize that there weren't fans in the stands. And growing up, like every time you're at the free throw line, everyone's always like, you just have to tune everyone out, act like no one's in the stand. So I don't know if that's kind of like rolled over, and like we just kept playing. And obviously there are times where if like it's super crowded, you can definitely tell like in the game are some distractions, but it was a bummer last year. But I mean, you kind of really didn't even notice. Like I said, once you're on the court, everything just kind of turns into a blur and you're just in the moment of playing. Just that I knew it had a really good nursing program, and when I was looking into transferring, I honestly was to the point where I was like, maybe basketball will just have to be hung up, and like maybe I just need to focus on like school and basketball not really be a thing. And so I called Coach Kylie, and she actually recruited me out of high school from the school she was at the time. And so I called her when I saw she came here last year, and I was like, look, I still want to play basketball. Like, I'm not ready to call it quits yet, but I'm also like, school is my number one. And she was like, well, I think we can make that happen for you, and I'd be happy to have you. So I just like how it's kind of condensed. You don't have to. The other day I tried to go get Chick-fil-A at U of L, and I had to turn around and go towards my house because I was like, this is just too much, too big. I couldn't even tell you where I was supposed to park or anything. And I was like, I don't know how people do this. And so I like how it's just all here. Like, you can park in one spot and then walk to the gym, walk to the library, walk to class. You don't have to like pull out your GPS to figure out where you gotta go. And I just like how it's all small and condensed. I would say that we focus on family. Like, we all just, like, we want everyone happy. We want everyone to succeed. We want the best for everyone. Coach does a really good job of making sure she works around your work schedule, like family schedule. I mean, obviously we're part of a team, so you're expected to be at weights, practice, like all that, but she does a good job of knowing that we have a life outside of basketball. Like, we have bills to pay, we have family that we have to attend to, like all that type of stuff. So she does a really good job of all that, and that's just one of the things I harp on is when we have recruits come on campus, I'm like, if you're looking for someone where you can continue your career and like your the sport you want to play, I think this is the place to be, because she does a good job of making sure school is your number one, basketball is a priority, but also stuff outside of basketball can be tended to also.